What is up, everyone? This is Everything Star Wars with your host, JG. On today's first ever podcast, we are going to be talking about the most recent episode of Star Wars Rebels, Twin Suns. If you have yet to watch this episode, I highly recommend that you stop what you are doing and you go ahead and watch that episode. There's going to be a lot of spoilers in today's podcast. We're going to be talking about the episode and all, giving the review and the reaction and what it means for the future of Star Wars. All right, if you're still here, you are ready to go ahead and listen to my reaction review. The premise of this episode was that Ezra was going to go ahead and follow Maul to Tatooine so that he could warn Obi-Wan Kenobi before Maul tries to destroy Obi-Wan Kenobi once and for all. Now, as we all know, in Episode 4, Maul does not appear and Obi-Wan is still there. So we all kind of had a feeling about where this was going to go. And yes, it is revealed that Maul is killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was an amazing fight, not because it was huge. It wasn't grand. It was small. It was elegant. It was very poetic. We're going to talk about that more later. We also know that there is no contradictions here. No one calls Obi-Wan Obi-Wan. They call him Master Kenobi. Maul calls him Kenobi. There is no contradiction at all because he is never referred to as Obi-Wan. There's also some great Easter eggs along the road. But I think this episode was so strong. It was well written. It had so many nods to legends. It had so many nods to canon. And it was just so amazing to be able to go on this journey. So the episode starts off basically with uh, Ezra finding out that this holocron is calling to him. He thinks that it's Obi-Wan, when in reality it's actually Maul is baiting him. And then he goes to Tatooine against the wishes of Hera. Hera says that, hey, we're getting ready for the attack on the fall. We need you here. We need to be getting ready. And he runs off to Tatooine, and it is then revealed that it is a trap. And Obi-Wan talks to him about how, you know, you believe that it was the holocrons because this is what you wanted to believe. And it really just puts into perspective. And I think it was really a huge and eye-opening for Ezra. And I think this is gonna put to rest the whole Ezra gonna turn dark, Ezra gonna turn Sith. I really don't think Ezra is gonna go fully over the line. I think he maybe might have another episode of, dark side Ezra, but I don't think he's gonna go fully fledged over to the dark side because I think this what Obi-Wan tells him is gonna stay with him for a very long time until he dies. Uh, and then we get to the point where Maul is there and Obi-Wan says, "Hey, Ezra, this is not your fight. Go ahead. I gotta finish what was started here so many years ago." And this fight, which so many people I've seen on Twitter and I've seen on Reddit, is getting a lot of mixed reviews because people were expecting this big grand showdown, and I feel like we did, but it just wasn't as flashy as the Phantom Menace's duel or even the Clone Wars duel. But this was very reminiscent to the fight in Episode 4 between Vader and Obi-Wan. It was also very reminiscent to very old school samurai films. I have not really been a fan of that genre. I've not really watched it, but everywhere that I'm seeing, everyone relates it to old samurai films. And it was just very poetic because in the fight, Obi-Wan starts out with his normal stance. And he actually doesn't ignite his lightsaber until Maul mentions that you're here because you're protecting someone. And it's because of Luke he ignites his lightsaber. And so then it goes into the part where he ignites his lightsaber. He takes his normal stance, where he points the two fingers, form four, I believe. And then Maul ignites the second blade, and Obi-Wan switches to the stance that Qui-Gon Jinn had in Episode 1. And I was like, whoa, that's really cool. They're like putting the two together. And then Maul goes in the fight. They, I think, exchange about three strikes. And Maul, thinking that he could do the same thing that he did to Qui-Gon years ago in Episode 1, he goes to do the I'm gonna knock your chin and then catch you off guard and stab you. Obi-Wan knows this because he's baiting him. And because he baits him, instead of falling for it like Qui-Gon did, unfortunately, he ducks and is able to chop the lightsaber in half while also slicing Maul. And then not only does the poetic of episode 1 does not stop, it goes into the fact that Obi-Wan catches Maul as he falls, and Maul says, is he the chosen one? Reminiscent of Qui-Gon saying he is the chosen one. Maul was, or Qui-Gon was talking about Anakin, and Maul, I believe, is talking about Luke. And Obi-Wan says yes. And then Maul says his final words, maybe he will avenge us both. And then he dies in the hands of Obi-Wan. Which I could think that not only is this episode called Twin Suns, S-U-N-S, but maybe it could be a play on words where it could be Twin Sons, S-O-N-S, and these two are like almost brothers. They're opposite. They've always had this vendetta against each other. There's always been this duel. But maybe there's so much more similarities to them than we can see. Um, and so as the episode ends, Ezra returns back to the base in Maul's ship, which I find is very interesting. And it's then revealed to them that, hey, Maul is gone once and for all. And it's time to go back home, and I'm assuming that means Lothal, because that is where it all started. And then the episode ends with Obi-Wan going back to the Lars homestead, and then you hear Aunt Beru calling Luke, which I believe is straight out from episode 4, straight out, cut out exactly. And then you see a figure running. And at first I thought it was a little kid. But if you look at it, it's actually a little bit taller. I think it's just a distance rendering type thing. But it definitely looks like a young adult running as a shadow. And so it ends in the New Hope music, and it just was so amazing. This episode was so strong. If I had to rate this out of 5, I had to give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think that some of the pacing was kind of threw it off a little bit, but for the most part, this episode was just fantastic. The acting was amazing. The voice acting, you got to give so much credit to Stephen Stanton, to Sam Witwer, and the kid who does the voice of Ezra, which I can't remember right now. I apologize. All three of these guys did such an amazing job. It was seriously just so memorable. I think it's going to go down as one of the most iconic moments in Star Wars history. And it now provokes the fire again a little bit, where everyone would say is who's the chosen one? Is the chosen one Anakin or is it Luke? I am going to go to the right now. My mind of thought is, and then even this mind of thought actually continues into a very interesting path, is that I feel like the chosen one is not a specific individual, but maybe a kind of like a something that's like a ancestral kind of thing. And it's through the Skywalker line. It's many people. It's the line of the Skywalkers that they are the chosen ones, and so that's Anakin. And because Anakin couldn't do it, Luke did it, and it just keeps passing down the line. And if that's true, then it goes to Ben. So I'd be very interested to see maybe more. We get more into this chosen one prophecy. It'd be very interesting to get into it because it came up again. So it's obviously got to be something to it. So this is my thoughts of this episode. It was seriously amazing. I'm so excited for next week's finale, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. I can't believe that this season is over. The season's been really high note for me, and I'm very excited to see what we get for season 4. All right, so that's all I have for today, guys. Leave your thoughts about what you think below on Twitter. You guys can follow me there at Star Wars underscore E. And that's all we have for today. Thank you again for listening to our first podcast, and we'll see you out there again in a galaxy far, far away.